Hi, friends. Welcome. It is June 29th, 2020. It's Monday, and it is just about 1 o'clock. Welcome to Curating to Counter. As you get started thinking about this is a terrific unit for right now. It's about Confederate monuments, and that is very timely and very happening right now. So your students should be very interested and want to engage. And this will be a really cool way to talk to them about that. My name is Erin Umstead. I teach at Holt High School. I've been a part of C3WP for years and years, so I'm excited to work with you today. There is my contact information and two of my favorite things, cat ears and coffees. All right. All right, here are all the materials that you'll need for this. There's stuff from C3WP, all of this stuff with the information card set and the text set. There's also a second one on facial recognition, which is also a really hot topic right now as well. And so some resources for that. Here also in your optional are a full text. So these are excerpts, these are full text. And then just some other stuff there. This is super important if you're starting this one and you're not quite sure how you want to talk about race with students. I highly recommend that one as well. From Monumentous Note Catcher down to two possible note catchers. I made you 3 or 4 note catchers just because that's how my brain works. Feel free to use them and I'll point them out as we go here and you'll have access to them, but they're not from C3WP and you don't have to use them if you don't want to. So don't worry about that. All right, let's keep going here. So right now what'll happen is you've got a little bit of time. Before we get on our Zoom call, you are going to do lesson 1, tasks 1 through 3. And I know I never give you enough time, but that is what it is. And I want you just to get a little bit of a taste to it. So the skill is to curate information, describe the complexity of an issue. And this is such a complex issue. So this is a great one again for right now and for this unit. So there's a topic focus question. So whatever we do and however we do it, we're going to keep in mind what is happening that pushes these individuals, groups, and government agencies to act. So keep that at the front of your focus because that is what we want to think about. All right, lesson 1, you want to become aware. And so what you can do, you can enter the conversation. And this, again, we're going to be practicing so that when you have your students do this, you'll kind of know how that'll go for them. There are some information cards right here, so you can click on those, and you're meant to separate those into 3 different groups right here, and there is a note catcher if you would like to do that on there. But in the interest of our teeny bit of time, you want to just maybe grab 1 or 2 so that we'll have some things to discuss. But that way, then you can get a little taste of what your students will be going through as well. After that, you can put your multiple perspectives and your stakeholders here on this anchor chart that I created for you. Absolutely not required, but it's there for you. After you get that down and you've got your multiple perspectives down that come from those cards, you could do something with that information. You could create a voices in the conversation, which here's an example from C3WP resources right there, or you could draw a picture of the issue, and I always do that because I'm a real visual thinker, and that one is a resource from the C3WP as well. All right, a little bit of writing, kind of thinking about that, and this is what you'll share when we come back together in a few minutes. All right, so after our Zoom meeting starts, we'll share out, and then I'm going to show you lesson 2, which is getting informed. This is the lion's share of it. We'll only have a half an hour, so we're going to do a teeny tiny abbreviated version of it, but that way, again, you can get a taste of what your students are going to be doing. The texts are linked right here for you. There's some ideas here, but there's also some resources from the C3WP on how you might want your students to annotate, so everything's clear, but also there's 2 examples of other ways to annotate information as well, so that'll be really helpful for you. There's one of my collaborative charts that I created for you just so we can keep our thinking together, and during our time I'll be typing in there and get that all squared away for you. All right, moving on, there's text 3 and 4. Now how this would we'll do that in an annotated version. We'll share out. We''ll keep track of our thinking. All right, and then there's some information that you might want to show your students. All right, then at that point, we're gonna pick 5 or 6 perspectives, and we're gonna work with those. And then that way you'll be able to talk and think about how your students will do this. This leads us into our independent work time. And at that point, I'm going to have you click through lessons 3 and 4. And there's a lot going on there, especially in lesson 3. There's 4 different rounds. But what it does, it really gives you a chance to unpack perspectives and figure out what they're saying and how you can either agree with it, use it to support your argument, or push back against it, push back against the limitations of their reasoning. So we'll talk about that as well when we come back. Then now this one, lesson 4, is super important in general because it's good to make a plan, but for you specifically, my friends, because you will be making a plan and that's what you're going to turn in at the end of our time together as your participation in Canvas. So there'll be more about that in our Zoom meeting, but I just wanted to kind of touch base on that right now. So you'll be writing a nuanced claim, you'll be examining disagreement. There's a document to help you do that. And then there's also some planning time, and there you go. So then we'll come back, we'll share, we'll talk about what you noticed, what our next steps are, and then we'll quickly click through this writing and revising because there's some amazing resources that I use every time I teach any of these units. It's so helpful. So if revising, getting your students to revise is an issue that you have, this will definitely help you. All right, so excellent. So that's what we're going to do, and I can't wait to see you in just a few minutes. Thanks, friends.